Hello! It's September 28th and I keep getting views on YouTube. Who knows why, but it makes me happy. Okay, first on topic today. If you have a brain, then you're probably already aware that Project Natal is not going to be backward compatible. If you have common sense, you know that they're not going to port Oblivion or any other game to Natal. So pretty much they're just going to be making new games, even though they've had Burnout Paradise being ported to it, and Katamari Damacy and Space Invaders. They're not going to port any other game. They're just using those as a staple point to test the thing out. The official release date is still unknown, but people are guessing 2010. Now, if you haven't bought an iPhone yet, this might make you. There's over 2 billion applications for iPhone at their store. 2 billion with a B. With a B. With a B. Now the thing about this is that most of them are free. And that if it's not free, it's either 99 cents or less than $3. Just shop for an iPhone. Just go to a store, ask questions about it, just look at one. I mean, you don't have to go out and buy one. I mean, not a lot of people have $500 hanging out in their pocket. And if you do, but anyway, at least look at one. If you haven't even thought about getting an iPhone, roll it around in your head. Now, we've all battled hordes of low-level henchmen, and we've punched and kicked and puzzled our way through to the end of our games that we play. And finally, you've taken down Ganon and reclaimed your kingdom. But now it's time for your reward. All those hours and painstaking puzzles. Painstaking. But what makes the games you're playing worthwhile? The ending. So what better way of finding this out is to count down the best endings of all time. The top 25 best game endings. Number 25, Thief, Deadly Shadows. Number 24, Oddworld, Abe's Exodus. Number 23, Gears of War 2. The final cinematic in Gears of War 2's campaign is impressive as you watch Jacinto's destruction after all the hell you have just been through just to bring a sense of closure. It's everything leading up to that moment that makes Gears of War 2's ending so awesome. Riding a Brummik, losing the Lightmass bomb, and watching said Brummik go lambent and mutate into a horrible monstrosity. It just feels like this culmination of all the fighting, all the struggling, and all the chainsaw-wielding mutilation that you've just been through to that point. Gears of War 2's writing wasn't all it could be, but in the end, the game delivered. Number 22, Hitman, Blood Money. It looks pretty bleak for you as Agent 47. I mean, you're dead. That's always a bad start. You're about to be cremated, and you're surrounded by your enemies, who are gloating over your corpse as the credits start to roll. Players press back and forward repeatedly, however, it turns out that 47 is only mostly dead, allowing him to rise anew and exact his vengeance in a crematorium massacre that is as bloody as it is satisfying. The final cutscene in which 47 is back on the job is just the icing on the bullet-riddled cake. Number 21, No More Heroes. Number 20, System Shock 2. Having more or less duped the player into serving as her pawn throughout the game, Shodan reveals her plot to merge virtual reality and actual reality using faster-than-light technology, and asks the player to join her. Refusing that offer and seeing Shodan finally defeated, given all the grief she's put you through, is a rousing climax to the game. Except, like all good villains, Shodan has another trick up her sleeve. Number 19, Klonoa, Door to Phantom Isle. Number 18, Conker's Bad Fur Day. Number 17, Resident Evil 3, Nemesis. Sayonara, Raccoon City. Having served as the setting of all 3 installments in this classic survival horror series, Capcom's fictional Midwestern town gets a send-off courtesy of the U.S. government's nuclear weapons arsenal. Fortunately, Jill Valentine escapes the last second in a helicopter, flying off into the sunset and vowing to take the Umbrella Corporation down. It's a nice bit of closure and the excellent setup for the further Resident Evil games, all in one mushroom cloud shaped package. Number 16 in one of my most favorite games, Diablo. As twist endings go, the climax of Blizzard's hack-and-slash RPG is right up there with number 1. Having hacked and slashed through more monsters than a brain can count, you finally knocked off the big bad guy, only to see his body shrivel to that of a boy who had been possessed by the demonic Diablo. And then, the ultimate sacrifice, as your hero drives Diablo's soulstone into his own head in an effort to trap this great evil in his own soul. We didn't even find out if he succeeded until Diablo 2 was released, but it was a chilling and awe-inspiring moment nonetheless. Number 15, Final Fantasy VII. Number 14, Wing Commander 3. Number 13, and one of my favorite games, Mass Effect. BioWare's sci-fi RPG had its flaws. I mean, the elevator and the glitched graphics, yeah, but the storytelling was not one of them. And the aftermath of the climactic Citadel battle was a great way to cap off the beginning of what's said to be a kick-ass series. Depending on the player's choices, humanity either earns a long-awaited seat on the Citadel Council, or if the Council was allowed to be destroyed, one or less takes over the galaxy. Departs in a continued quest to battle the Reapers, setting things up quite nicely for the inevitable sequel. Number 12, Fallout. Number 11, Half-Life. Players spent most of Half-Life wishing they could get their hands on the G-Man, that black-suited asshole weirdo who kept popping up in the worst damn places. But after fighting through Exen, and you finally given the chance to meet this man of mystery, only to be offered the impossible choice, accept an offer to work with him, whatever that meant. Remember, at the time there was no Half-Life 2, or face an impossible battle they couldn't win. It was a bitter pill to swallow for sure, but a complex and interesting end to one of the greatest first-person shooter games ever made. Number 10, StarCraft. Number 9, Deus Ex. Number 8, Call of Duty 4. Number 7, Chrono Trigger. Number 6, Metal Gear Solid 3. Number 5, God of War. Number 4, Grim Fandango. And if you've never played this game, go out and buy it. Number 3, Planescape Torment. Number 2, Portal. Now you can't tell me, if you've played this game, that you did not have complete fun, that you didn't want that piece of cake, that GLaDOS did not make you want to taste it. Just eat it out of GLaDOS' hands. And number 1, Shadow of the Colossus. There's really nothing about Team Ico's second title that isn't haunting and beautiful, and the ending of this game is no exception to that rule. Finding out just what Wander has sacrificed to his quest to revive Mono is one of the most heartbreaking moments that you'll ever experience in a game. And the tragedy of his demise would be downright painful if it weren't heightened by just the right amount of hope at the very end. If you've ever had an argument over whether games should be considered as art, rather than hunting for ammo, this sequence is it. Now that was the top 25 video game endings on an emotional standpoint. I know a lot of the games that you've played aren't on that list, but comment me. Give me a top 5 of what games you think are the best game endings, or the worst. I might do that next show. That's a good idea.